I love it. Les is simultaneously. Yeah, it's super weird. Here, I have it on my shelf.
Both. I have two books. I don't know if
Why
there's more.
he keeps doing like? Didn't you pull in the Batman Eats Pussy episode? Didn't you pull off fucking Damien's conception sex?
Yes, yes, yes. I probably still have that within arm's reach.
Why is everything within arm's reach? That's so weird.
I love my weird mojo wizard room here. I recorded all of that.
Episode 364 of the TV Dudes, recorded December 22nd, 2021. Best of 2021, Part 1. Is there technically still some TV on for 2021? Sure. The Expanse just started up. HBO Max has offered up more murder mystery but sad and landscapers. Witcher Season 2 and It's Always Sunny Season 15 are both up and running, but none of that grabbed our attention quite enough to make the cut for Best Of, so we're diving into our Best of 2021 episodes. This week, we're each going to offer up our 5 contenders that didn't make the TV Dudes cut, and next week, we're going to present the top 13 we've hammered out together. But before we get to all that, I'm Randy.
I'm Les.
And I'm Nick.
And we're the TV Dudes. Y'all, I think people know at this point that I love lists. I love top tens. This is my favorite thing. This is my favorite things to do all year. I'm working on my favorite comics, my favorite food I ate all year. Like, I am all about the top 10.
Yeah, this exercise is mostly me and Les making the list, and you already having three and deciding
Randy
which one.
gleefully like Homer running through the donut dreamland.
Like,
Yes!
tell me this, Randy. Do you have a separate list for your favorite and best of?
No, I'm not that crazy.
Okay.
I'm not that stuff. What I like, I've rounded the favorite I have to best, and if anyone challenges me on it, I'll be like, yeah, that's fair.
So-
Best is harder.
Top 5 things you rank every year.
Let's
Does
see.
TV even
Food,
make? Is TV in
graphic
the top 5?
novels, TV's in there, movies.
Les, no, we're having him make lists about lists. The dream is collapsing.
It's adorable. You think I don't have lists about lists?
Right.
I once made a list of lists I needed to make.
Santa's like, God, this guy is obsessive.
Like this guy. It's a bit much, right?
I only do the 2 like every kid in the world, but it's binary. Naughty, nice, keep it simple.
Right.
This psycho.
I don't do a weekly podcast about which kids suck. Fuck.
Randy would rate every kid before giving them presents and make it a staggered thing.
It's a 1 to 10 scale. On a 1, you're getting coal. On a 3, you might get like a broken toaster. But we're not here to talk about my lists. We're here to talk about television and the television we watched.
Well, and our lists. So
I guess we're here to talk about
Randy's storeroom of broken toasters and coal.
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
Les, what did you watch this week?
What did I watch this week? I watched all sorts of weird stuff. I watched all 3 Princess Switch movies.
That is
Princess
weird.
Switch, Princess Switch 2, and Princess Switch 3, Romancing the Star.
I don't know if I want to ask this, but what is the Princess Switch?
They are Vanessa Hudgens' Christmas timed movies.
That's all you had to say. It's a Disney
classic
thing, Vanessa Hudgens or whatever.
I don't think it's Disney. It's Netflix. But anyway, yeah, there's a mistaken identity. They somehow look exactly alike despite being on various ends of a family tree. And then there's a cousin that also looks exactly like them. That said, they're great fun, and I will not abide a war on Switchmas. Greatly enjoyed those. Also watched some Parks and Rec, some 30 Rock. Watched a couple of episodes of Travelers, which Lisa finally finished out. Forgot how sad that fucking ends.
Oh man, it's brutal.
Yeah. And it's like, oh yeah, that's right. David's my favorite character. This is gonna hurt. Fuck. Yeah, that was pretty much it. I'm gonna save a couple of special things, or at least one special movie that I watched with Nick for his bit. Because yeah, definitely watched a Christmas movie to be held. I did also watch through Disney Plus some of their Mickey Christmas stuff. I watched Mickey's Christmas Carol, which I had not seen in a long time, and I enjoy almost as much as the Muppet one. And then also, there's like a Mickey and Donald and Minnie and Goofy, like...
Wait, that's the one with Uncle Scrooge as Scrooge, right?
Yes.
Little on the nose.
That seems right, yeah.
And this other thing was like from 3 or 4 years ago, but I think it's called Duck the Halls, and it looks like a new Disney cartoon with Mickey Mouse and shit from people that definitely came up on Spumco, Ren and Stimpy. It's bananas. I enjoyed the shit out of it. It is really crazy. I think it's called Duck the Halls, but it's on Disney Plus right now and should definitely be watched.
I'm definitely realizing with some of my friends who watch some of the movies on Netflix stuff, there is more Christmas than I will ever watch. There's way more Christmas I haven't watched than have watched.
I did not rewatch the 3 Christmas Prince movies, so watching Princess Switch was like, all right, I'm going to watch something new.
Well, I think it's a logical fallacy, Randy. Like, by the time you've watched 1 hour of Christmas stuff, they've already made 2 hours of more stuff.
It's true. It's impossible to keep up.
So there's there's just the math doesn't add up on it.
That's right. Yeah, one night the
ghost
will come and show you all of the Hallmark catalog in one night, and you'll come out hating Christmas like an opposite Scrooge.
Yeah. The rare reverse Scrooge.
Yes, you've done like, no, boy, don't show me another turkey goose ever again.
So, for my part, I watched a bunch of movies this week. I saw Spider-Man: No Way Home twice, and it's great. I watched. I had some friends over to watch Scrooge and Elf, and then I watched Christmas Vacation a little bit on my own. That's my trifecta of Christmas movies. I kept up with Star Trek Discovery. I started on The Expanse, which is actually really good. We originally were going to talk about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia this week, and so I burned through season 15, which there are 7 episodes of, and man, that show is still great. Did any of you guys watch the season 15 opener?
No, I have not caught It's Always Sunny in quite a while.
I'm up to season 3.
So season 15
God, they're rolling up sober at your point.
Opens with 2021 year in review, and the premise is that this tax accountant guy comes to the bar, and he's a government accountant, and he basically they think he's there to evaluate them for a PPP loan, like whether they're going to get one, and he's like, no, I'm here to find out what you did with the 3 that you already got during the pandemic. And in the course of this, they're going through what they did. They started 3 other businesses. And the businesses involved basically, Frank started a hair dye business, which led to him being the guy making Giuliani's hair dye that ran off. And Dennis and Max started a thing called Fight Incorporated, which basically was them doing a country music thing. And they were out in front of polling places, and they got off on some weird tangent about which country musician was better. And they put a ballot box out for voting people, and people were dropping their actual votes in it. So they fucked up the vote count in Philadelphia. And then Dee and Charlie were making masks, but they were debating whether they're making Halloween masks or masks for pandemic, and they were also making them out of like rat furs, and they basically wound up outfitting the QAnon shaman. So all throughout all of this, they're talking about how their guy didn't get a fair shake. Their guy didn't get a fair shake. And I'm like, oh, of course they're Trumpers. That makes sense. And at the end, the accountant stands up. He's like, I can't believe this. You're responsible for everything that happened. You're telling me every big thing that happened. You're there. And they're like, no. And he said, and Trump lost. You should, And they're like, Trump? What are you saying? What about Trump? We all voted for Kanye.
Wow.
Of course they did.
I like that they've retconned reality.
Oh man, I was dying. And then they do a 2-part where they go to Ireland. Like, I'd forgotten that show is still just amazing. It's really, really funny. I burned through 7 episodes. It's great. It's totally worth the watch.
Side note, I still remain amazed that Rob McElhenney, or whatever the fuck his name is, and Ryan Reynolds, like that one-off line that Higgins says in Ted Lasso is not a joke.
True.
I mean, it may still be a joke, but they're rich enough that they did it.
They bought a football club. Yeah.
Anyway,
I watched the 2 episodes back of the Expanse, which is really good. It's the final season. I watched The French Dispatch, which is the most Wes Anderson it's ever Wes Anderson, which I like.
Yeah.
I rewatched Anna the Apocalypse, which is the best zombie romantic comedy musical Christmas movie I've seen.
That's quite the claim.
And of course, I caught the final episode of Hawkeye, which I fucking adored. I don't know if you guys caught up on that or not.
We did.
Yep.
Okay.
I did. I know Nick, I think, watched it earlier today.
That reveal about the watch is a thing I've been waiting for, and I didn't think they were actually going to do, and I was so fucking happy about it.
Cool. You have to tell me what it means.
I totally forgotten what the watch was.
The watch he gives him at the end, spoilers for Hawkeye, if people haven't watched it. Skip ahead a few minutes. The watch is Laura's watch. And it's a S.H.I.E.L.D. watch, and it has a 19 on it. Agent 19 is Mockingbird, Hawkeye's wife from the comics. She's Mockingbird!
Oh, that's so cool!
Laura is her, like, what do we call it? Witness protection identity. She is Mockingbird.
Awesome, okay.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Someone had pitched that as an idea, but I'm like, they're never going to do that, but they fucking did it.
That's great.
Love that.
That explains why she's so calm and casual about her husband coming home beat the shit all the time.
She's a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. She probably, that's why she knows Nat so well too. Like, she probably worked alongside Nat and Hawkeye.
So AOS is definitely not in the MCU.
Exactly, yes. And that makes me happy, because some other things are now, and I'm not crazy about that. Well, I actually am. I kind of liked it, but...
Yeah, I did have a moment, I don't know, I assume we're going to discuss Hawkeye a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. We should.
We
can
dessert,
do it
or
now.
we just... Right now?
Let's do it now.
So I did have a moment. I am not familiar in the comics with the character of Echo, or I keep hearing everybody talk about her brother being called Clown and being like a nemesis,
right,
or something like that. And I fucking love that they full on give us Kingpin and then just shoot him in the goddamn face.
You know what though? There's no way he's dead.
Oh no, they don't show the body.
They panned away.
X-Men rules.
Yeah.
But I did want to. I wasn't sure everybody had seen it on our text thread, but I did want to text that, like, Marvel and DC often copy each other. I mean, like the Wade Wilson, Slade Wilson, all that bullshit. There's analog characters all the way through it. So, did Marvel just sincerely give us a female Batman who actually echolocates, and their nemesis is just called Clown? Because that's the simplest, like, what are you calling your Batman? Echo?
We're not even trying anymore.
What about Joker? Clown? Sue us. We're gonna back the Disney money truck up and see if Warner Brothers wants to play.
That's great.
Yeah, I thought the Kingpin stuff was great. I liked when she shot the grappling hook arrow at him. I'm like, oh, he's used to that. Don't do that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he knows that move.
Yep. That fight was fantastic.
That was really great.
Yeah, all the trick arrows were great. They definitely killed those guys that got taken off by the owl.
Oh my god!
They killed a bunch of people. Well, the spinning
owl
thing, though.
They shrunk the truck, and then it was like, well, now what do we do? Actually, I didn't think that through. I don't know what to do now.
I don't know what happens.
The owl comes.
The owl comes out like, I guess we don't have to worry about it.
Well, there's that.
There's also that multi-pin cushion arrow they were using where like, oh, you're just straight up killing people now.
Well, the other people that got hit with it or are getting hit in the arms and stuff with like spikes, I'm like, okay, they might just be hurt. The guy that got hit with it and is getting spikes all over his chest, that guy's dead.
Yeah.
He's for sure gone. And also the people that are getting multiple tranquilizer darts in them, I'm like, okay, if one of those can knock you out, two of them will definitely kill you.
Yeah. Yeah. You shouldn't get hit with 10 or 20.
They faked us out on Jack. He was kind of a good guy. I loved it.
I loved that.
I loved
Jack
ended up being a cool guy.
Yep. And then he just genuinely like, haha, now is my moment.
Yes. Also, I wanted Jack in the LARPers show. I'm just gonna say it. Just give me that.
And he wasn't evil. He just has a really upbeat, positive attitude.
Yeah,
And I think he may have a little LARPer girlfriend now.
I think he might. Well, his fiance is going to jail.
For real.
Well, that's what I didn't get, because like Kate's mom was like, okay, well now things can go back to normal. I'm like, you killed a guy. I'm pretty sure things aren't going back to normal for you.
So I feel like in superhero shows that kind of shit sometimes happens, though. Of like, we all made it through the city, so I'm just going to forgive what happened 3 hours ago. And I love that Kate was like, no, Mom, here's a litany of your actual crimes, and here's the cops, and...
This wasn't one time, too. This is years of
So is this what heroes do? Yeah.
I love that line, though. I love that line, which is like, put their mom in jail on Christmas. I'm like, Well, you murdered a guy.
Well, maybe if you murdered a guy in January, that wouldn't have happened.
Right? It's kind of on you still.
The timing is a little bit your fault, I think.
Yeah. I also love when Hawkeye called her his partner.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
So good. And I love them coming home for Christmas. I love Lucky and Kate there at the house for Christmas.
Well, you realize that Kate doesn't have her mom anymore, so like, okay, well, she's definitely going over for Christmas.
Surrogate family, yeah.
I did have a moment when they destroyed the costume together of like, well, noted fire. I mean, all of y'all been trying to like actually fight Ronan. All you literally had to do was hit him from afar with lighter fluid like it's a drunk fucking keg party.
Well, that's what I never got about superheroes. Like, Martian Manhunter's weakness is he doesn't like being set on fire. And I'm like, that's a lot of superheroes' weaknesses, I think.
Most people don't like
most superheroes, yeah.
I think a lot of people don't like that.
I assume that's why Firestorm had the flame out of the top of his head, was just to send the signal that, like, I'm cool with fire, don't even try it.
You know who likes fire is Ghost Rider. That guy loves being on fire.
Right? But you know it from afar.
Yeah, also, I love that in the Yelena conversation, they went with Clint. Like, he didn't say that Natasha wanted it more or I messed up.
Right.
Like, she was just better than me.
He's like, she was better than me. I couldn't stop her. Yeah.
So, because, like, this was a choice up to us, and I couldn't stop her because I can't. She's better at this than me.
I felt like that was one of the few ways that you could actually make that reason, like, convince Yelena in that moment.
Yeah.
With like no, I fucking tried to stop her, and here's something I know you'll believe. She kicked my ass and did it anyway.
Yeah, it didn't work.
Yeah, and that, I mean,
so her anger back of like, well, then you should have fought harder, and like, I agree, kill me for it.
Yeah. Well, it's like this whole fight where you're kicking my ass right now. Yeah, like imagine that. It's very similar.
Yeah.
Oh, and Yelena, like them complimenting each other after their fights, like, "Oh, you did that cool thing."
That was good for him.
Hey, stop making me like you. I can't help it. Then just
Yelena and Kate, man, I love that.
Her hitting all the buttons. Like, why would you do that?
You just I love her strategy is little kid press all the buttons.
Yep. Oh man.
I absolutely feel fantastic about the future of the MCU. Like, I haven't seen Eternals. I just saw Shang-Chi a few weeks ago at home. I'm not really up on the movies the way I would have been pre-pandemic, but as far as like the new actors that I hope are taking on these roles, I feel great about Florence Pugh and Haley Steinfeld.
Yes.
She's fucking fantastic.
Yep.
I'm so glad, and I love the terrible names, like Lady Hawk, Lady Archer, Arrow Lady, and he's like, I already got one. Boom, Hawkeye.
Yeah, that was great.
I was like, I really hope that I'm understanding that correctly, and that she is just taking the mantle.
Yeah, I think she is. Yeah, it's so good.
And
also, the reveal on Mockingbird now means that they could recast Hawkeye, Black Widow, and Mockingbird, and do a 90s era or early 2000s young Shield agents and do it right.
Yep, if they wanted to.
You can even bring in Coulson.
Okay. You want that fucking Mockingbird Nick Blood show they were gonna do.
I do. I want it, but good. I want that.
Yeah.
And I want it to be Hawkeye and Mockingbird.
I kind of want him to let Coulson go, and I really.
I know. I do too. But you could definitely use him.
I feel like Clark Gregg just deserves actual Tahiti at this point.
I don't know. Clark Gregg was so good. I feel like he deserves a chance to actually be good on TV.
The New Adventures of Old Coulson.
I know we've talked about this before, but why is the I Can Do This All Day Avengers Rogers musical good?
Well, they cast actual Broadway stars in it.
Yeah.
The choreography, the singing, I'm like, why is this all fantastic? This is so much work for one gag.
Yeah, it's like one dude from In the Heights and one person from Hamilton and one person from.
There's a lot of people and a lot of work and time went into this one joke that went into it.
And that's why it's the post-credits thing. It's like, look, we made this whole goddamn thing.
We're showing it.
We hardly showed you any of it. And I love that they're like, the post-credits is like, Merry Christmas from Marvel. They're like, here's what you get.
Yeah, I loved
early Christmas present for you guys.
Cranked that up. That was fucking amazing.
I was like humming it. I'm like, I could do this all day. Like,
this
isn't bad.
And Hulk smash. Oh my god, so
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
And all I could think of was Hawkeye in the in the first episode of like
yeah.
looking at when Ant-Man runs out of like he wasn't
He's
even
not even
there.
Wasn't even
there.
This is bullshit.
Yeah.
Fantastic. They nailed the landing. I would say, I mean, obviously, I think it's the best, but I think it's the best of the Marvel Disney shows.
I still think Loki is probably the best, but this is like comic book family fun. If you're gonna watch something on Christmas, yeah, nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Loki was my favorite one overall, but where this one, like the first episode of Hawkeye didn't quite click for me, but where this does hit, it hits it out of the park. It is absolute joy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hits higher highs for me than the rest of them.
Les, did you not see Spider-Man?
Nope.
Okay. So, Nick, I see it on your list. We shouldn't talk too much about it, but did you like it?
I did like it. Randy, you watched it twice. That means you spent 5 hours in a theater last week or this week?
I did, not at the same time, just over the course of 2 different days.
Over the course of 2, okay.
Yes, I did.
Still a lot for 1 week. I thought I went, what was it, Friday night, I guess? I didn't go Thursday night, but I went Friday night with a significantly younger crowd, which I'm used to. Like, there was
all babies.
Like, all kids, and they lost their shit every 20 minutes. Like,
yeah.
I can see why you had to go see it twice, because I just legit missed dialogue.
Oh, I just wanted to see it twice.
It was one crowd-pleasing, oh my god, that happened thing after another.
Yep.
And I went with my friend, who's a little bit more of a sourpuss than me, and it, like, ruined the experience for him. And he's like, okay, almost all of these kids weren't even alive when these characters were in the theater last time. Why the fuck are they so excited?
Fine. Pete's still in high school. It's fine.
And I was like, hey, come on, give it to them, man. They're excited. This is blowing their minds right now.
What else did you watch this week?
I actually watched another movie with Les other than the Christmas one we watched. I watched Taking of the Pelham, the original one, because I had never seen it before. And we can talk about the parallels with that during our Great Scott episode, but I thought it was very interesting in comparison to the Tony Scott one.
Interesting. Okay.
The plot of the two films are nearly identical, but the story couldn't be more different. The tone, what they're going for, and even just the focus of it is completely different. It's like what's it? Soderbergh's Ocean's 11 and the original one.
The Rat Pack one.
Like,
yeah.
I get that the heist might be the same, but yeah, those are going to be very different movies.
Yeah, they're way different. I watched Witcher season 2, which was pretty good. I would say that I like, you throw enough money at a fantasy thing and it does end up looking halfway decent. They don't do the time jump bullshit, so this season automatically gets better.
That helps a lot.
They even have the gall to make fun of themselves, where the bard is like taking criticism from a guy because it's like, that song wasn't your best work. It took me to the 4th verse to realize we were jumping timelines.
Nice.
And that dragon reveal, it was really obvious. I caught it real early. And so I used to yell at that guy. I'm like, I don't know how much of this is like petty, like funny, or like really making fun of yourselves. Like that was a stupid thing to do, but at least you're not doing it anymore. So you at least listened, whatever it was.
Side note: I think somebody ought to make a couple of D&D characters who just have a weekly tavern show where they sit and critique local bards' songs.
The ballad dudes?
Yes, the ballad dudes, the saga dudes.
Like what was it, the song I chose last week I put on for the Great After? I put on What Is Love, but it was the medieval version. Thou Don't Woundest Me. And it's from a genre of music that I found called bardcore, which is amazing. You should definitely check it out. There's some fun stuff in there. Let's see, what else did I watch? I watched Young Justice to keep up on it.
I did that too. I did keep up with that.
Yeah. Young Justice is really weird this season.
It is. It's so all over the map.
It's all over the place. This episode especially was like, why did we stretch 10 minutes of story into 30 minutes?
Yeah.
The Naboo stuff, I was like, this is neat. Except we've already fucking seen a lot of this. Like, you're straight up using some stills you did in the previous season when we did this.
Yeah.
And you're going into more detail, but not in any way that's interesting. I kind of knew, like, oh, this was a inherited thing from Vandal Savage, and the helmet was actually passed down. I kind of got it without actually being told what it was.
But the thing is, that part, the history part, was at least interesting to me, and it's a divergent from the DC. The heroes face their fears thing, I don't need to see that story ever again. It was the most repetitive crap.
Oh, I'm insecure. I'm like, I don't know any of these fucking people.
Yeah. Yeah.
This conflict of theirs means fucking nothing to me.
Yep.
And because the only thing that was kind of interesting is that Beast Boy's storyline of like, okay, he's gonna attempt to kill himself at some point.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Because
he's dark.
He's exhibiting all the signs of it, like not sleeping and then like just laying in his bed and then oversleeping and then a lot of sleep medication. I'm like, okay, the next step is he's gonna like try and OD on that sleep medication.
Yep.
So yeah, that's dark. The Clarion and Child fight that was awesome in the last episode doesn't even happen here. This episode really felt like the first one that was just filler. Like, I guess we're just biding time, even though we're not even to the Phantoms part of the story yet, and we're still fucking around.
Yeah.
At least we have Zatanna here, but where the fuck is Rocket? Is she gonna be in the last episode and that's it? Because that would be weird if she's on the front bumper of the team of like, this is the Phantoms team, and she's only in one episode.
Yep.
I don't know. It could be just like this. It did make my, like, I was putting a line of like my best of, but that was basically the orphan storyline that I loved so much, and that was carrying it over. That was carrying it over the finish line because I couldn't believe they did it, and I loved it so much, and I love that character. It was like, that's my Hawkeye basically. Randy is Cassandra Cain. So just them even doing it is awesome.
And it was done really well too. Like it was really good.
Yeah, and having it done well was even better. I was like, yes, this all works. I love this. Not sure what it has to do with the long-term story, but fine. I guess we're not really doing that this season. And see, I watched Rec, which I just rewatched Rec with the Spanish horror film.
Oh, love Rec. One of my
that's
favorites.
A fucking great movie.
It's very good. Very good. It still holds up.
Sound design and shit, like the body smacks as shit falls and stuff is
one of the only found footage movies I feel like actually uses it to its full advantage and works. And even then they cheat a lot.
Yeah, but it's so nicely done. It's like we've talked about like cheating in car chases and shit. Like I feel like it makes its cheats work.
Yeah. And then I watched Would You Rather, which is an okay kind of like truth or dare type movie of like contestants trying to see what fucked up things they'll do to themselves and each other for money. But it has Jeffrey Combs in it, and so depending on how much you love Jeffrey Combs, he's worth the price of admission because he's Jeffrey Combs in it. Hey, was he good in it? He was Jeffrey Combs. And what else did I watched? Oh, me and Les watched Krampus and also Idle Hands, which was a movie I had never seen before.
I've heard of it. I've never seen it, but you tell me you and Les watched it. It makes sense. That tracks.
It's about the kid from Final Destination, where his hands are possessed by an evil force that make him kill people.
Oh, I know.
Just one of his hands. The other one he uses for stuff, and so it was a little.
Right, it's only his one hand. Wait, why the fuck then is it called Idle Hand? Oh yeah, never mind. Yeah. And it's it's really weird and interesting. Me and Les might have discovered the new Wilhelm scream, which is the Alba Ow, which. Jessica Alba has an ow line when she gets hit in the head that is so ow.
Ow. It's so weird. It has that Wilhelm scream. Like, how did we ever start buying that as a realistic scream?
I just want to say, I hate the Wilhelm scream. I hate it
so much.
It ruins movies for me at this point.
Wow, coming from a Star Wars fan, that must be infuriating.
Like, I don't pick it out very well, but Nick, you do almost everything we watch. Like, if it happens, you're like, Wilhelm scream.
Wilhelm. Like, I've gotten to the point where, like, I can hear it in a movie theater that's over into the side if I'm watching a movie. Like,
yeah.
Okay, I don't know what's playing next door, but I heard a Wilhelm. And we watched Krampus, which was that Christmas movie from like, what was it, 2016,
20,
2015?
yeah. Adam Scott and Toni Collette, David Koechner. Shit, I can't remember who else is
Great
in it.
cast. Great
Allison
cast.
Tolman.
And it's the guy who did
Trick or Treat,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, it's his Christmas style, and I think people slept on this because me and Les had not seen it, and we lost our fucking minds. Keep in mind, we saw Shark Exorcist last week, so our
So, like,
bars have.
Yeah, it was we had a big piece of ginger in between these two dishes. I mean,
but yeah, it's really cool. Like, just it's like it's not even that bloody, so even younger kids could watch it. Although it's pretty intense. The lighting of it is even good. Of how it feels like you're trapped in another dimension of this storm. Like, if you've ever been in an actual blizzard, how isolating it actually feels.
Yeah, I can't believe like I don't remember this being mentioned to me much at all, or kind of passed over.
The monster, Krampus himself, is really cool. His helpers are neat. Like, all the designs are awesome. And yeah, the lore of it. There's a whole thing where the grandma goes into a Vietnam flashback that's animated Ralph Bakshi style. Or no, what am I thinking of?
Rankin Bass.
Rankin Bass, yeah. Rankin Bass style. And I was like, this is fucking cool as a Rankin Bass like flashback for when when everyone got killed in her village when the Krampus showed up.
And like, yeah, it's dark and weird, but it is really bloodless. You can tell they were shooting for a family movie because it just, people don't splatter the way you think they would.
Yeah.
I guess I was not. I guess I need to give this another shot. I was not wowed by it when I first.
I would watch it again with lowered expectations off of if you saw it when it first came out.
Yeah, I did.
I'd watch it without whatever hype was associated at that moment.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because I remember it coming out and being like, I remember hearing about it when it released, but then I just didn't hear anything about anybody seeing it.
Yeah.
And going back and watching it now, I'm like, shit, this is really fun. Like, I'm very happy this exists. Kind of like just, I don't know that it's overtakes Trick or Treat, but
well, anything before 2016, I think, needs to be seen again in a new context, especially if it's about cynicism towards goodwill towards men and kind of that sort of shit. Like, I'm going back to think, hey, remember that whole Dark Reign storyline and when Marvel, when like Green Goblin's in charge of stuff, and that seemed really stupid that no one would let that happen. Yeah. And I got like, well, sorry I ever said anything, comic book writers. Obviously, you were completely right.
Yeah, that's true.
Harry Osborn's gonna solve Iraq, I guess.
Nobody would ever put him in charge of that. That's silly.
Sail away, sail away, sail away. Sail away, sail away, sail away. Sail away, sail away, sail away. Sail away, sail away, sail away.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about the stuff that didn't make the cut at all for our process. We'll talk a little bit of the process of putting together our best of. What we did is we kind of each of us sent our personal top 20 in, and then I worked my magic on it. We don't have Kyle, our stats guy, here to do do all the math for us, so I kind of fudged it together a little bit, and I made a list of like, well, here's the stuff that all three of us had on our list. It might be a show that two of us had in the number 1 spot and one of us had in the number 5 spot. Y'all can probably guess what that show was, but that's for next week. There might be one that like one of us had number 1, one of us had number 8, one of us had number 20. But those are all like, these should all be on the top 5 probably because all three of us had it on it.
Yeah, ranked choice voting. It's weird because how we rank TV shows is actually more democratic than any process we have for electing government officials.
And then there were a handful that had us. They were on 2 lists. 2 of us had on the list, not 3, but 2 of us, and those went in. And so, of those 13 shows, will make up our top 13 next week.
Okay, but let me pitch you this, Randy. Instead of that, how about we vote for someone else to vote what our top pick should go on the list?
Interesting. Well, that is how Real Rob becomes our number 1 show of the year.
And like for some reason, your vote counts less than mine.
Yeah.
It's only because you live in bumfuck Wisconsin.
That's right. So what we have also is this outliers of shows that are on our personal top 20 but aren't going to make the cut at all. So what we've got for you this week is our top 5 of shows that just missed the cut. There are contenders. And outside of that, I still have like 5 or 6 shows that didn't quite make they couldn't make any list because of the top 13, top 5. Like I have some shows that made my personal top 20, but won't make any of the best of TV dudes. And I'm sure y'all have some of those as well.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to real quick address the stuff that I have that didn't make my top 10, but would make my top 20 if I was making the entire list. And that is the twin sci-fi comedy action of Cowboy Bebop and Resident Alien. The first suffers from being canceled, and the second suffers from being on a network that has no interest in showing me their shows. But I really enjoyed both of those this year.
Can I ask you something? And
Yes,
you
you
answer
can.
honestly?
Yes.
How much of this list is catharsis for people yelling about how right they were to cancel it online?
No. I just have one friend who's being a real dick about it, and every time he says something, I have to pick it back up again. Like I'm ready to let this go. But every
Okay.
time he says something dickish, I have to say something dickish
Because every
back.
time I have friends on Facebook that basically say a version of this. Oh man, it got canceled. I mean, I'm a couple episodes in and it seems really good to me. I'm like, oh, it's been out for a couple weeks and you haven't watched it all. That's why it's canceled.
Yeah. Yep.
Because you have not finished it in a binge, and that's what Netflix gives a shit about.
Yeah. I'm a little salty about Cowboy Bebop because I really wanted more of that, but you know, I got plenty to watch. Rutherford Falls makes my list because of Mike Schur. It's a Mike Schur outlier that I kind of want to really liking, even though I don't really like Ed Helms that much. But there was some really funny and clever stuff in there, and I feel like when it comes back for a season 2, it may have some more to say. Weirdly, Top Chef Family Style is on that list because that was my comfort watch for weeks. And the second season of Love Life, which I think I was the outlier on that one, but I really, really dug that. That's high up on my personal list. Nick, what's on your list that didn't make your 5 contenders?
That came out this year.
I feel like Sweet Tooth didn't quite make your cut.
Yeah, Sweet Tooth didn't quite make it, although I really liked that one. There's a bunch of them that like I really like this, but it's not. I don't know. For me, if like I rewatched something this year, like that was my top 5. I've rewatched those at some point already.
Interesting. Okay.
Like I almost started watching Sex Lives of College Girls again right after this because I was like that I would rank those higher. And Sweet Tooth, I'm probably never gonna go watch it again, but I will watch season 2.
Yeah.
You know.
I also Last Week Tonight was on your list that almost made the
Last Week Tonight is kind of like, this is always good. I should probably mention it because it's also kind of important because it's really provides, I think, a catharsis, and like I don't know how much it changes, but I do feel like it does try, like the way they, they'll set up a fake church and then donate that money to something else or whatever.
Yes.
So like it seriously has like an impact.
Yeah.
It's not just them yelling into a void. They're like at least trying to change some stuff sometimes.
Well, they're renting space in that void. You don't want to yell too much.
Oh, and the whole void thing this season with H. John Benjamin was like,
man,
like
yeah,
just
it's so good.
Yeah,
like I was like, you get on the list for basically that alone. The Adam Driver stuff, or was that last year? I forget.
that was last year.
That was last
year. This year was George Clooney.
Yeah, it was Clooney this year.
Yeah,
it was the snapping. Yeah. And yeah, I feel like we've talked about it a lot. It's been on a while. There's not really anything new to say about it other than it's shockingly good, if not as good as The Daily Show, maybe even better in this given day and age for its time.
At its height, yeah.
Like, I feel like it's doing more than even The Daily Show did, and The Daily Show actually, like, did shit.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's also one more that I think was on your list, and that's Reincarnated as a Slime.
Oh, yeah. Well, that one just gets on the list because I don't know why. I watch that and I rewatch that all the time, but I like, seriously, it's just because it's like comfort food of the conflict's really light. I think it's kind of funny. The main character is just a super nice guy. There's not a whole lot of like him being a dick. I don't know, maybe I'm just like I'm over stimulated with TV shows where we're following an asshole and we're supposed to like sympathize with them. and just following a nice. It's like my Steven Universe. Why I like Steven Universe so much.
Yeah, okay, I get that.
It's nowhere near as good as Steven Universe because Steven Universe is like doing a lot of shit all over the place, but it has a similar type vibe of just I'm just watching them hanging out. We're not gonna do anything too crazy. We're gonna just keep it even of an even keel, and yeah, let's just relax.
Les, what about you?
Well, so when I was making my top 20, I basically ended up making like a series of top threes. Like I had
Mhm.
5 or 6 shows or 7 or 8 shows that I was like, hell, any of these could be number one, given on my mood on any given Tuesday or what day it drops.
Right.
And then I numbered a bunch of things number one, a bunch of things number two, and a bunch of things number three, and then I sorted like each of those groups basically.
That is more complicated than my
Thank
methodology,
you.
I gotta say.
I'm inventing the wheel here. I don't make lists of shit all year. And I'm sure you're gonna rank how good the wheels are. But I ended up with that top 20, and then of course we got our list out of it. But there were a few things that ended up in like my 23, 24 level of didn't even make the top 20 I sent to y'all. And
Right,
so
right.
I feel like Big Shot and Mighty Ducks Game Changers. Mighty Ducks, I low ranked almost anything that I cannot tell you if it's pulling off nostalgia or if it's really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I feel like Mighty Ducks was a really good show, but also I have a lot of nostalgia for that property, so who the fuck knows?
So I'll say this: Mighty Ducks and Big Shot are the outliers of my top 20. I grouped them together when I was trying to cheat as like
Mhm.
Disney sports shows because those are the same show.
Yeah.
That is the
basically.
same goddamn show.
They are like the same fucking show
And they
as
rolled
far
right
as like
into each other.
disgruntled.
Like I watched both of them right together. Yeah.
But they're also both really good.
Yeah.
So those both belonged on that list. Like I was like, oh yeah, that legitimately belongs on a list. It just didn't quite
Disney looked unstoppable until they did Turner and Hooch.
Oh
really
yeah.
did, and
Oh
that's
yeah.
already canceled.
Oh thank God.
But yeah, so both of those shows brought up exactly what I loved about watching like Disney Channel shows and shit when I was
Yeah.
a kid.
Yeah.
And so I was that kid with Disney Channel. And so yeah, those both definitely made it. And then Legends of Tomorrow continues to be the greatest live action role play, like drunk history. If your friends were telling you about their D&D game,
Yeah.
and they just
Yeah.
got actors to do it, that's what it feels like. You should watch it on Saturday mornings with a marshmallow cereal, and it's a wonderful show that got me through a lot of weeks.
At night it does not become, but in the early morning in a sugar rush, that's the best show on TV.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Don't watch
yeah.
that after dark. Don't go like setting the lighting in your room like it's like cinematic. No, no. Do this shit in the morning before anybody's up. Yeah, watch it low volume. It's great.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, Stargirl, which is a substantially, I feel like, better written show,
It
but it
is.
still has that CW sheen, and
Yeah.
it's just going to keep it from being in the top 10 of my year, really.
You know what surprised me? That's not in any of our top 10s or top 20s. As I'm surprised about is, and I think it's better than both those shows, which I like. The Superman and Lois. That's a legitimately really good show, but it didn't quite.
I think, but also those shows are also good, and it's the best of the CW shows. But it has a little CW stink on it.
So there's a couple episodes in Superman and Lois, just like Stargirl, because it would be right in the same grouping, where they dealt with the Annihilator brain wiping thing,
right.
and it's not like it made comic book sense. It didn't make it. It made 90s comic book TV show level of like
it was
and that's the best that show can be on CW. It does not get better than that.
That's true. Yeah.
And it was still worth my time. And honestly,
this
is the television I'm talking about that got me through week to week. Like every week, like I know there's better TV than Stargirl. I appreciate that it's not going to win an Emmy.
Huckland is like Christopher Reeve's level of, wow, that's Superman.
Oh,
yeah, he's great.
I love
he's
him
great.
as Superman now. Yeah. So, but at the same time, they just kind of got that, where they top out on how complex the emotional storylines and stuff are going to be for me.
Yeah, for sure.
It's kind of like if it was better, it would jump networks like You from like, You as a Lifetime channel, and there's like, no, we've made a mistake. This is actually good. We need to move this to another service.
Right.
Yeah. Though, interestingly, so when I was ranking things, I tried to separate out things that I can't tell you if it's nostalgia or really good. things that I can't tell you if, I loved the latest season of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I can't tell you if season 8, it's the Modern Family problem.
I
Do
get
you
that.
need to keep winning Emmys, or are you just great for a number of years? And then similarly, things I didn't, even if I fucking loved what I saw, things that for whatever reason I didn't go back and finish.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
Doom Patrol is still hanging out there. I've still got a
Yeah.
couple left to watch.
Yeah.
And I love that show, but I felt unfair.
And Les watches Flash. Like,
Right?
let's remind ourselves.
I completed Flash Armageddon.
Oh my god.
I cleaned that plate.
If the CW people are listening, he's not going to stop himself. Please cancel that show. He would have stopped. If he could have stopped, he would have stopped already.
Do you have a friend that's still watching Flash?
Les, you got a couple more on your list that I know did not make your top 5 contenders. Hacks from HBO Max.
Yeah,
that was one I was thinking of.
That was on the edge of mine too, because man, did that come on
Jean
strong.
Smart had a hell of a year. Like she's also in one that I'm going to talk about on my real top, whatever, my real 5 that didn't make it. She was in Mayor of Easttown this year as well. But I really enjoy the shit out of Hacks. I've seen most of those episodes twice actually, because I rewatched them with other people. And it's also one that I've recommended to other people.
Yeah, same. I have stuff in my like 30s and 40s that I've recommended to other people. Like it was a good year for TV.
Well, that's what I can't stress enough. Like I don't have a top 20. I have like a bunch of interchangeable top 3s. Like any of these shows that we're going to talk about this week and next are astonishingly good in my opinion, and would not be a waste of your time at all.
Well, there were 2 more. Girls 5 Eva on Peacock, which was better than it had any right to be.
Dude, that was my 21.
Main reason it made the list. Better than it had any friggin' right to be. I had no expectation. Everybody crushed it. I laughed my ass off at it. I wanted a new sitcom. My only real issue with it is that I wanted it to be an old school sitcom and give me 22 friggin' episodes of it. I just
again, like,
more.
there's nothing wrong with that show. There's no like, it's just, it's a tough, like, there's, even though it was a pandemic year, there's still, it's tough competition as far as best of
for sure. Yeah. And the last thing that was on your list is The Good Fight, which I think you and I both had a love-hate with this year.
So the last 2 seasons, I mean, last season was cut short, and so the Memo 818 or whatever it was
just got ditched, basically.
It just got ditched. And I know that's not the number, but and then this season kind of felt this, like there was stuff that I was like, I see what you're going for, but you don't really like, it's, I don't know. I felt like they were either pulling their punch or not fully committing to some of their ideas, or it felt off. So while I still love the show and I'm still looking forward to next season, and it was still a lot of fun to watch. If you have ever enjoyed any of that, the new season was perfectly fine. I realized that there was no way that it was on my best of the year because of this season.
Yeah. I had much the same. It dropped, and so did Evil. Just dropped a little bit outside the tops.
As much as I loved how fucking crazy Evil got, since it can't hang anything together more than 3 episodes in a row.
There was a couple weeks this year that we called Valley TV where we like were kind of bored, but that was about it. Like every other week we had something really cool to talk about.
Yeah. All right, well, this seems a good place to remind you that you can support us by going over to patreon.com/tvdudes. Throw us a buck an episode. In exchange, we get to keep up streaming services, pay for our hosting costs, and you get bonus content each week. This week, we're continuing our Tony Scott marathon with Taking of Pelham 123. We also have our $20 showrunner level, so if there are shows you want us to throw into the rotation, you can buy into that level, give us a couple of ideas.
What kind of ideas?
Not anime ideas. I cannot stress this enough. Although one of our patrons, Max, misunderstood the assignment because we never were super clear about it, and he was at the $20 level for a long, long time. So he's going to be throwing us like 3 or 4 a week, or 3 or 4 every year. So he's already laid down his 2022 options, of which 3 are anime.
I was about to say, come on, Max.
He bought a Disney Express pass for our Rochambeau of a fucking segment.
Yep. He's just going to, every year, he's going to be like, these are the 4 shows you guys got to watch this year.
I love the fact that we offered up, like, if you pay us a lot of money, you could, make us watch anything. And Max, like, just ran up for the whip and was like, I'm going the first 5 times. Like, he didn't steal his own spot in line. He stole the first 5 spots somehow.
Y'all get the next car.
All right, this is probably a good time to warn people. We're running long this week because we're still going to talk about our top 15, essentially. So hopefully y'all are in for a big, long episode. Let's start with number 5. Nick, you had already sort of started talking about this. Nick, what is your top 5 contender here?
Top 5 contender that didn't make the TV Dudes official list, and I'm not surprised it didn't make the list, but it's Star Wars Visions.
God, Nick, why are you such a Star Wars fan?
Yeah, I know. Like, I know it's annoying. I bring it up every episode.
Always talking about Star Wars.
I think, and this got an extra bump just for, like, I really appreciate when something takes a big swing and it pays off. This was, like, I guess it's not a huge swing because it's Star Wars, but it's the most daring thing they've done with Star Wars in a long time.
Agreed.
Fuck canon. They just gave a bunch of creatives, like, whatever you want to do in the Star Wars universe, go ahead and fucking do it. Don't care about what the Lucas lore is or whatever fucking canon we're working with. Just make cool shit.
Yep.
And almost all of those were great. Like, maybe like one wasn't so hot. Like, I didn't quite dig the last one. But all the other ones were like, wow, I'd watch a whole show of this. Wow, I would watch a whole show of that. Wow, why isn't Star Wars good? Like, it made me remember, like, oh, this could be good. This could be awesome. And making me excited for Star Wars again was a feat nigh unobtainable, I thought. So it gets the top contender spot just for pulling that off of achieving that amazing feat.
Yeah, I mean,
Les, did you ever watch any of them still, or are you not into it?
No, that Star Wars show? No.
Yeah.
The combination of Star Wars anime was not going to get less. I mean, it got me because of Star Wars. It got you because of anime, and it turned out to be a good peanut butter chocolate situation. But for Les, that's just sardines and
yeah.
lard.
You got pickles in my cod liver oil.
Yeah,
how
that's
dare
just
you?
Not good.
Ugh.
Yep. For real though, it's good. Like I really enjoyed it. So, Les, what about number 5 on your list?
Well, these are really no particular order,
Yeah.
but I'd say number 5 on my list, Mysterious Benedict Society. I knew nothing about that show. I don't feel like Disney Plus promoted it in the way that they promote some of their other shows. In terms of every time I go to the app, it just fucking be in there. It seemed like even on like week 3 of watching this show, I was still having to nearly go type Mystura to get like the Disney search to pull it up for me. But Kristen Shaw and Tony Hale in 2 roles. The kids were great. It had a real Wes Anderson vibe. It had a mystery and a weird.
It felt to me like, what if the Lemony Snicket's guys made the Wonka Factory?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was down for that. I really didn't care for Lemony Snicket, which I didn't read those books either. And I realized this is also based on a book wasn't around when I was a kid, I don't think. But this had so much color and style and that weird 60s Logan's
Which
Run
one of us
vibe.
said it was weapons grade ennui?
I think that might have been me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like Randy.
I felt like this was the perfect year for that plot for me of like there's an emergency going on where everybody just feels like things are extra fucked, and it's like fucking with how people can respond to actual situations. I really dug it. I loved the shit out of that. I don't know if it got a season 2, but I hope they did.
Yeah, its initial core concept is actually pretty high-minded and stuff. It's pretty neat.
I never got around to finishing it, but I liked it every week that I watched it. One of these days, I'll go back. If they do a season 2, I'll try and catch up to it. Number 5 on my list is Never Have I Ever, which I really loved the first season of. It was a big surprise. It's about the Indian American teenager Devi, and her mom. They lost her dad to I think he died suddenly, and it's about her having this like relationship with the hot guy and relationship with the nerdy debate guy, and she's got her 2 friends, one who's in the robotics club, and it's such a different take on sort of a high school thing, and it's all narrated by John McEnroe, and there's just enough there to make it weird and fun and like I thought season 2 was really good. They deepened all the characters. They really are not afraid of making Davy kind of hateful sometimes. Like she does bad things.
Well, she has John McEnroe in her head. Like,
Yeah.
she's a little angry sometimes, apparently.
Yeah, but John McEnroe judges her sometimes. He's like, damn it, Davey, what are you doing?
What are you doing here? Well, I love that he's not narrating the whole story. He's narrating her story.
Yes. Well, if John McEnroe is your voice of reason, you're fucking up somewhere.
Yeah,
So
it's not
don't
great.
they flip to other narrators at one point?
They do. They flipped to Andy Samberg at one point, and I feel like there was another one.
There's another one that was also very apropos.
But it's delightful. It's very funny. It's very sweet, and I'm super glad. I got confused with this and the other one that was like There was another weird title that was about the girl with the psychic powers. And you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, shit.
I'm
Damn
not
it,
okay with this.
I'm not okay with this.
With the girl from It, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
They announced that I'm not okay with this was canceled, and I was like, oh shit! And then I realized, oh no, it wasn't Never Have I Ever, so I don't actually care.
And Never
Yeah,
Have I
it's
Ever.
like-
It's also Mindy Kaling.
Yeah. But I really dig it, and I was super happy to have it.
Well, they cut Teenage Bounty Hunters and Cowboy Bebop. Netflix does not like you this year, Andy.
Man, yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja was so good too. But Never Have I Ever, I survived, and I'm glad. Number 4 on my list is AP Bio, which I think I'm the only one here who really appreciates this show on the level, but every time I watch it, it gets weirder and more experimental. It feels like Community when Community was like, fuck it, we're just doing this. And going to Peacock, they've really just amped up. They do weird experimental episodes. They do time jumps. They do point of view jumps. They did an episode where Jack is high on fumes the whole time. And like,
Yeah.
I really love, and the kids, the high school kids are all hilarious. But I really, and Patton Oswalt's great in it. Paula Pell is great in it. I really like this show.
Yeah, it's really good. As far as Community makes it, there's one that I think made the top 13 of the shows that we're going to talk about that like really took the torch from Community, in my opinion,
Yeah.
going forward. So like I think that maybe that's just like there's why I didn't end up finishing it or not getting into it as much, because it's like got Patton Oswalt in it. I'm like it
Paula
should
Pell.
be.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It really should work. What was the episode where they have the tornado drill and the
Man,
the assistant vice president is like she was the main character
they're
of
doing
Twister in her own
Twister,
story,
yeah.
and
Oh
it's
man,
out to get her.
Like it's the Twister what killed my pappy, like that. Yeah.
yeah.
I laughed
That was
so hard.
delightful.
Got my family's.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gone for my sister now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it
Yeah.
switches away from her, and he's like, "Oh, I got to call my sister in Chicago." Like it's going for her. Like,
Yeah, it's weird and funny, and I love it. Les, what's number 4 on your list?
Number 4 on mine. I'm going to put these two together. I liked, I think, more than anybody else in the show, Mayor of Easttown and White Lotus. Both HBO Max Sunday night shows, which I feel like is a particular genre of show at this point. It's either going to be the most high-minded space thing you've ever seen, or the most high-minded NPR true crime podcast you've ever seen. I, having never really gotten into My Favorite Murder or any of those, I was really struck how much I got into Mayor of Easttown. For as dry as it can be, the characters felt really lived in and well done. And like the more I got into the murder of it, and like trying to watch and figure this out, I really was locked in week to week. And the same with White Lotus, which also has a murder at its core, though it's played very different. I was really just astonished by how exactly they showed these class issues and these rich people and all their problems and stuff. 9 Perfect Strangers does something similar, but not as well.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of dynasty. I mean, there's a lot of shows that like to play with, rich people, but they're not all Succession. They're not all, they don't all do it this well. I feel like White Lotus did something several shows are trying to get near, and was the only one that I went, okay, that works.
Yeah.
Do them all like that, or stop. Because I absolutely glued week to week, and kind of surprised by both of them.
Nick, what about you? What's your number 4?
my number 4 is what was my number 4?
Your number 4 is an anime, sir.
Oh yeah, it was another anime. It'll be the last anime on the list, I think.
Ever.
My Hero Academia went forward with its season 4, I want to say, part 2, whatever like the fuck they do. But My Hero Academia is just a really cool superhero show. I'm in the tank for anything superhero, and which is why Super Crooks was such a fucking disappointment.
Oof.
Eh,
Oof.
And this show is like, I like that they treat superheroes as being like firefighters or policemen. Like it's
Yeah.
just a job, and
Yeah.
there's the in and outs of it. There's a school for it. You intern in it. Like it really is like an economy is based off of it, of making costumes and gadgets. Like it really, even to a more than the MCU, goes into a world where almost everyone has powers. How would it work? What would the world be like with all this crazy shit? Like, how would you have to adapt? And I like all the answers they have for those questions are always interesting. I always like them. I think they avoid a lot of tropes as far as, like the mean kid in school, the bully, he doesn't become a villain because he thinks villains are pussies. Not because of any moral reason. He's just like, nah, because I want to be a hero. Heroes are awesome. Like villains are bitches. Like this, and I was like, okay, I've never heard that motivation before. I got to tell you, that's pretty new to me. Yeah, everyone has like a cool power and just a neat, like it's really is even a weirder Claremont X-Men of weird shit they get into and how they figure it out to like get out of it, and no one's power is useless because they all like have some sort of thing that just only they can do. And yeah, it has so many characters and yet they're all very distinctive and very interesting in the way they portray them. I don't know, I just really like that show and what it's doing with the superhero genre. It's combining a lot of Western stuff in there with it, and while still maintaining the Eastern animation style, and I think it pulls it off greatly.
Well, we're all going to find out in 2022 because that is one of the shows Max has picked us to watch.
Oh shit!
Well, I kept suggesting it, so
yes, that's what worked. My number 3 is Atypical, which I really loved this show, and it's about a kid who's autistic and is going to college, and it really, I think, did a sort of a good warts and all about this family, like, that has serious marital issues. The sister is going through some stuff, and it's always really funny. It's always really heartwarming. It makes me cry every time. I thought the 4th season was a really strong season. I also thought it was weird to be ending because they could have kept going. Like, it didn't feel like I don't know why they ended it here, but it's a solid ending if you're going to end on it.
Yeah, I remember feeling like I didn't mind the finale, but there really wasn't. I didn't feel like there was a need to stop that show. They could have absolutely kept going with his college years.
Yeah, and I guess maybe there's creators decided they didn't want to do anymore or something. I don't know. But I was really happy with it. It was a good finale. It went out strong. Nick, well, talk to us about The Great.
Wait, didn't Les turn?
Let's combine
I did too.
Let's
So
combine
go ahead.
a couple.
Oh,
So yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Great. That was a late entry this year. We talked about it like last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago.
I still have 2 episodes left.
And it was the first time I watched the first season, and I think the second season is even better than the first season. Nicholas Hoult is like, this is his character of his career, I think. Like, if it was just him, everything else on the show sucked, and he was just the same, I would still watch this show because he's compelling as fuck.
We'd still be talking about his Peter.
Yeah,
Weird to say out loud.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, it's not historically accurate. They don't really claim it's historically accurate. They're just taking little bits of like the Catherine the Great story and putting it into a soap opera. The Russia jokes are never not funny. Like, just like when he shoots the bear, or fuck it, like they're betting on child death and childbirth, and like fucking I think there was a season 1 where what's it, the woman, they kill that maid that they pretended was a lord or was a lady, right? And they
Right. Yes.
and
Yeah.
that, what's her name? Damn it, Muriel walks up, shoots that bitch in the back of the head.
Oh, that was
Gangster.
so satisfying.
It was so cold. Like, there was no dialogue, no hesitation. She just cold murdered her, and I was like, fuck, that was awesome.
Yeah, Muriel's fucking badass. Watching her in season 2 be a lady again is amazing.
Yep.
Don't cross her. She does not fuck around.
Yeah, this would have absolutely made my top list, but I've been savoring the season 2 episodes, so I haven't finished it out, and I
Oh,
felt
I didn't-
unfair. It
I
kind
didn't
of felt
savor
like
that shit at all. I tore through it.
technically there's going to be Letterkenny out before the end of the year, and I guarantee it's going to make my best of the year list, but I felt
Sure.
unfair just being that in the can for it, or in the bag for it.
Just holding a spot open for it.
Right. I haven't seen it yet. It's coming out in a week, but I assure you, it's going to beat all your shit.
Oh, and yeah, you haven't seen the last episodes yet, but the last episode of as far as how the Peter thing wraps up with their relationship and Catherine the Great's mom and the war with the Turks, it's like each of those storylines has a satisfying fuck yeah moment in
That's great.
one episode of like, yes, you nailed all of this.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm excited to finally finish it up. Les, I think you skipped one. Talk to me about Reservation Dogs.
So, Reservation Dogs, I mean, it had Taika Waititi's name attached to it. I mean, it had a really great pedigree coming out, like kind of like the Mike Schur Rutherford Falls thing, like was getting a lot of great press about native crew, native involvement, and had good backing pedigree. I was really expecting a lot. Rutherford Falls had also surprised me, but Reservation Dogs was both like slyly funny, like in ways that cracked me up. The kind of like Letterkenny, not on the same banter level, but just in the same kind of thinking about it a week later and going, okay, that's still fucking funny to me. All the weird trippy kids seeing his spirit guide and how goofy the spirit guide was, that shit's hilarious to me.
Yeah.
I also grew up near, like, in Northeast Texas, like southern Oklahoma, and they shot a lot of this around like Broken Arrow. It looks like, and I don't see that area on TV exactly. I see Louisiana in movies and TV a lot, but that's not the same.
Yeah.
And also recognizing a lot of cast from small indie movies out of Oklahoma and shit. It was fun recognizing bit players and stuff. I remain completely impressed with this being funny, handling several plot lines really sweetly. It just when we talk about like things kind of hitting the ceiling on certain channels or whatever, I felt like this rose above what FX necessarily asks of a comedy and really delivered on like a very good, heartwarming show.
Yeah, it was on a lot of people's best stuff list. I know. It didn't quite grab me the same way, but I feel like I need to give it. I feel like I watched it wrong. It's like that. It's like one of those things like everybody's telling me how good it was, and I feel like I have to give it another shot.
All these shows we're talking about, I'm probably going to finish them at some point.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I didn't feel compelled to just get it all done before the year was out.
Well, it's hard when people cheer about a sitcom or I mean anything that's a 30-minute like sitcom kind of show to not feel like you're going to go in and get like Kimmy Schmidt just hit you in the face with jokes.
Yeah.
And this show just does not do that. Like it's not a slow burn. It's not like it's an AMC procedural where it's like 8 hours in and we still don't have a murder.
Right.
It's very sly with its jokes, and it kind of builds on like the weirdness of these kids. And yeah, I can definitely see it not clicking for people, but I enjoyed the shit out of this show.
Nick, talk to me about your number 2, which I forgot about.
I was shocked it actually didn't make the.
I forgot it was this year. I totally forgot it was this year.
So I put on Physical, and this is the only one I put on here that I haven't watched all the way through. Not because I don't want to. It's because this show is hard to fucking watch. I still have 2 episodes left, and I need to be in the right headspace to watch it. If I'm having a particularly bad week, maybe an episode of Physical is not what I need right now. And also, if physically I get like a stomach ache, I can't watch 2 in a row.
It's intense.
I haven't had this feeling since Breaking Bad or The Shield of like, oh my god, oh, I actually want her to snap and break and just kill people or everyone in the room just to get it over with. Because I'm like, I know it's gonna happen. Just it's worse now, just waiting for it to happen. Just do it. I know you're gonna do it. Because you seriously are watching a ticking time bomb, Alfred Hitchcock style, showing the audience up, except the time bomb is a person, and it could go off at any fucking time.
Man, Rose Byrne just kills it in
She
that role.
kills it. And also it's also a little bit triggering. That's why, because like most of it is so intense. I'm like, wow, I can't believe someone would say that to themselves. And then some of it is like, ooh, that's close to some dark thoughts I've had. Ooh, that's a little close. That's a little
Yeah.
close. That's
Yeah.
that's. And then usually I take a break for a week.
Yeah. Also, her husband is the biggest shitbag of all shitbag useless husbands, and he's playing it so great.
I basically
good.
track in the room like, okay, if she were to just take the knife and slice everyone in this room, how much are we losing? Okay, the kid, yeah. Okay, but the husband's not a big loss. I guess we shouldn't kill her friend that she's trying to work with here. She doesn't seem to have done anything wrong. I'm just like waiting, like, okay, now's a good time. There's no one I like in the room right now with you. There's no one I'm invested in.
For sure. My number 2 is Cobra Kai, a show I never expected to like, let alone love as much as I do.
That show was like, it didn't make my top 20, but it's how good it is confounding. Like, it's confusing.
It's ridiculous. It shouldn't be. I mean, it should either be like goofy when you're like, you appreciate on that, like, oh, this is kind of fun 80s, 90s goofy comedy.
Why is its fights choreographed better than half superhero shows I watch?
Right. Nobody does fight scenes like these guys do.
Their fight scenes are so cool.
And also, like, who is the karate king of Reseda, California? Shouldn't matter to me, but it fucking does.
It's such a dumb storyline. Like,
oh man,
it's like these two karate dojos, mall karate dojos, are going against each other, and it's this epic Civil War duel. But you look at it from the outside, like, this is stupid.
And what's great is they know it. They managed to get the stakes, but at the same time, they can have the girlfriend and the wife just make fun. It's like, yeah, they're rival dojos. It's stupid.
Oh, the wives are the best part. Like, the girlfriend and the wives are like,
oh yeah,
yeah.
Like, they just gotta they know they have to deal with it.
Like, there's a point where they go to the city council and it's like, look, we don't care.
The city council meeting, that's exactly what I was gonna say, which is like, where they're just like, wait a minute, what are you saying? That our town got destroyed because of two rival karate dojos? What are you talking
about? This is ridiculous. What are you talking about?
No, we come here to discuss zoning issues. This is, what are we...
What are you called, Eagle Fang? Get the fuck out.
Like every adult in this town is like, what is happening? What?
Yeah, the next season drops right after Christmas, and it's a little present for me, and I'm super excited about it.
Now, the next season, I think I've been spoiled on a little bit, but it is doing the team up, right? Like
yes, of course, it's time.
It's time to do the team up. That's what I thought.
And
I'm excited. Like, I
can't wait.
I can't believe how excited I am to watch, like, Miyagi, like, or Cobra Do, or whatever the fuck it's gonna be called.
Yeah,
it makes
Miyagi Kai.
It makes me want to go watch the other Karate Kid movies, and I know they're not good.
And you're not missing any Easter eggs. That it's not like it's The Matrix or something. Like, you don't need to go back and watch that trilogy.
All right, Les, why don't you hit us with your number 1?
All right. So I would the number 1 thing that it didn't make my top, but it easily could have. Motherland Fort Salem. We talk about things topping out on channels. This thing's on Freeform and goes, I feel like, well above the assignment. It's from the creator of Claws, which I mean, I enjoy the shit out of Claws as well, but it's a show about running a nail salon cover front for an opiate business. And that is not what this show's about. This thing has this crazy deep, Motherland Fort Salem has this crazy deep world building about a branch of the U.S. military that is basically how we ended the witch trials. Is that all witches are born conscripted directly into this military service, and that's a problem. And in the first season, I think the only reason this didn't really make my top is that at this point, they have another enemy that is fucking creepy, and that's going great and everything. But in the course of it, they put the Spree, their super terrorist like witches, are now kind of fighting alongside the military, and getting this, like, redeeming the Spree doesn't quite, like, I appreciate their reasoning and stuff, and the show did the Lord's work trying to sell me on it, but they killed a lot of fucking people in the pilot.
Well, I imagine they're trying to do the whole the Nazi scientists brought over to fucking NASA thing of like we
Yeah.
can't waste these assets.
Well, and no, I mean they give the spree like a reason of like, well, we're witches who don't want to be conscripted, and y'all are bootlicking insane people. And like they give the spree a motivation that is fine, except that the spree have murdered a bunch of civilians, and it's hard to take it back. Like they vilify kind of the main leader of it, but it still just didn't quite work for me. But the show overall has managed to not just set up that cool world, which I thought was interesting, but then continually make interesting choices in it, so that as they keep expanding, like where witch's power comes from, and like this weird mycelium fungus thing that they've been trying to study that is clearly powerful magic that none of them run or understand. It just keeps getting weirder and cooler, and I really can't wait to see where the final. I don't know if next season's probably the last season or something, but I can't wait to see where this thing builds to, because I feel like it's going to build to some really crazy final fight. Also, we all watched part of Wheel of Time at least, and had a discussion about how battle magic just routinely looks weak.
Yeah.
This show on Freeform is one of the few shows where battle magic actually, like where like having to stand back and talk and cast a spell actually results in a cool action where you can understand how they would use that in a fight.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I remain continually impressed with like how the mechanics of the magic work, especially when I watch something like Wheel of Time, and I'm like, look, how are y'all throwing so much more money at this, and it feels like the train is moving slower.
They do so much with they've clearly thought through their magic system in a way that very few people do.
Yeah, I remain really impressed. Everybody should go back and watch. It's on Hulu, I think is how I'm watching it, but I believe it's an actual Freeform show.
Yeah.
But yeah, Motherland Fort Salem is absolutely wonderful.
Nick, your number one?
My number one is the show Arcane.
And you said no more anime. This is a Netflix anime.
Technically anime.
It's the best of
Netflix
the anime.
animated show. I don't think it even says the anime thing on like Netflix anime, like this Transformers one, or for some reason.
Got the money
I don't know what the rules are for this.
They had the money to buy the rest of the vowels.
And the League of Legends show, and I don't play that game. I think the lore of it is really cool. The CGI is, they threw finally enough money at 3D CGI where it looks really good. It has a distinctive style, looks like kind of Borderlands if it was a little smoother, it had more money. The animation on the fights are so cool. Just straight up fist fights between kids are like just epic.
I don't give a fuck about your kids.
I don't give a fuck about. I watch your kids fall off bikes all day. And yeah, I think the storyline between a lot of these characters, like they go through a lot of characters and balance them very well, which is hard to do. I get the villain. Like, I'm like, shit, he's evil as shit, but I actually get what he's saying. I get what he's trying to do. Like, and it's, I forgot what, something else this year tried to do we have to keep a peace, like we have to work together and keep this like balance thing. Oh, Mayor of Kingston or something. It was like, well, the system we have is shitty, but it's better than if we break down the system and try and make something new, because that would be chaos. And so we're going to try and make this shitty system run as smoothly as it can. And it's about these people realizing that system can only run to a point, and then when it breaks worse because you didn't prepare to change anything. I don't know, like it covers change, mental illness in an interesting way, and yeah, I just think I was shocked how much I liked it, considering I had no idea what this was. Put it on Netflix because I saw an animation thing that looked cool, and I was like, oh shit, I never get surprised by things like this ever. And it was one of the best things I've seen this year. I'm not sure if you guys didn't really plug into it, but if you have the time, I would definitely give it another shake, as far as at least the first 3 episodes. I know they came out in weird 3-chunk episode orders as well, which I
have a ton of friends who swear by, who loved this, and it just left me completely cold. But so many people like it. It's just like some of the other ones where I'm like, man, I probably should watch this again.
Oh, so you did watch it?
I watched the first 2.
Oh, okay.
And it didn't quite grab me.
I can see that. A lot of people don't get into it until episode 4 is what I hear. I liked it
Yeah.
like immediately, but
Yeah.
episode 4 is where they time jump into the future, Young Justice style,
Okay. All right.
and things advance and get worse for some characters. And Hawkeye, Haley Steinfeld is the main character, is Violet.
Yeah. It's got a good
And-
voice cast. I know that.
And she does they have a great voice cast that do a great job. Animation is subtle enough to where the facial acting is really coming into it, and I haven't seen something this animated this well that wasn't in a Pixar movie.
My number one, all our number one shows, by the way, are things that I think are on no one's top 20, except for maybe Nick. And that is Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. I was super sad it got canceled. I was super glad that Roku, of all people, picked up a Christmas movie to finish it out in sort of a rushed fashion. I thought the second season had some great... The musical numbers and the choreography were really good. I thought it had some of the best, most realistic adult relationships on television, where people actually... They got upset with each other, but they talked things out. And they didn't have to do the fake out friends bullshit of like someone mishears a thing and that's what the conflict is.
Mm-hmm.
It was basically like the actual conflicts were like, no, this is legitimate differences that you guys have, and you got to work through them like grown-ups.
Yeah,
and
that's what it's funny. We always say that about the shows that we really enjoy, like Sex Lives of College Girls and stuff that break that convention.
Yeah, tell me a story with people that act like people, and I'm way more interested into it.
Yeah, where I don't have to scream like, just say it, just tell them. Jesus God.
Or apparently, tell me a story about karate dojos and tornadoes hunting women.
Yep.
I'm all over the map. I don't know what to tell you.
What secret is Flash keeping from the team this week, Les?
Yeah, oh man, yeah.
Or is it Cisco this time? I don't care.
Cisco's off the show at this point. I feel like several actors were like, "Y'all aren't gonna ever stop. I'm out.
I gotta go out." They got out. Les never will.
I enjoyed Zoe as well. I didn't watch it this year for personal reasons. It just was a hard show.
Yeah.
But we could do a whole separate show just on that's not a streaming network. What is that called again? It brought back what show? Because like Zoe jumped to Roku as an independent streaming network somehow. Roku also purchased all of Quibi's content, and that's actually been fun to go through.
Are you casting battle magic right now? You're saying nonsense words.
Friggin' Leverage came back with Leverage Redemption on IMDb TV. It's weirder and weirder. Like these used to be the kind of streaming channels that would just have like that same, everybody has the same block of 40 bad 80s 90s action movies or whatever. Only now they've got fucked up original content, and also just the wholesale like movement of Quibi over to Roku TV, and the fact that they're making more of like Die Hard and shit is just crazy.
It's so weird. They basically bought a network fully formed.
Yeah, which as we kept talking about with Quibi, this is really good content delivered in the dumbest possible way
possible.
So like, let's see what happens in 2022.
I'm not sure that having it only on Roku is any less dumb.
Not necessarily.
Like, I mean, I have access to a Roku.
At least it's on my TV.
But like most people have either a Fire TV or an Apple TV. I mean, I don't know what the market penetration of Roku is, but it's not 100%.
No, it's like a third, I think, of the market.
So it's still a weird. It's not as bad as Quibi, only on your phone.
No, at least it is on my television.
Yes, it's on your television, and that's a start.
Like, I love that somebody was like, I'm going to buy Quibi. What's your genius idea to fix that tank? Like, well, first we're going to put the TV shows on TV.
What?
It is like the equivalent of pulling out the circle in Hudsucker Proxy. and Tim Robbins, like, for kids.
So I don't know if you guys have this just off the top of your head or anything. I have many lists. Before we close out here, I want to throw out my least favorite show that I watched this year. The show that is on my shows I didn't finish list, to the very bottom of that list, and that show is Housebroken.
Oh yeah, I didn't like that one either.
God, did I hate
really
that
bad,
show.
Man.
Yeah.
Really bad.
It's real bad.
I think I called it some sort of war crime, and I stand by it.
Yeah.
I feel like surely I started to watch something that I hated more than that, but no, like that hurt. There shows that I think I liked less than that were shows that I went into going, I don't know why I would find this interesting, but people assure me it's well done. But Housebroken, I should have been like, that's aimed sort of near me at least.
Yeah.
I feel like the things that I really would have hated, I couldn't get through. Like that is Aziz Ansari's Master of None season 3 or whatever.
Yeah, man, that was a disappointment.
Like I was like 10 minutes in, like I bet you if I kept watching this would be the worst of the year. I think.
I
for
just
me,
saw
but...
somebody put that on like their top 10 for the year, like some major public, and I was like,
God, if you
how
love
are you
pretentious
asleep
bullshit,
through the end of it? I call bullshit.
Yeah.
There's no way you made it through that awake.
But then there's also some stuff that I don't like it just because of the genre that it is. Like Beatles Get Back is just like not a thing that I'm into as far as it's not really a TV show as much as it is a camera pointed at a concert for an entire 8 hours.
But Housebroken's a fucking voice cast in a sitcom animation about dogs.
I think that's what makes it a cut above the rest is that they're wasting how much talent in it.
Yeah.
Like if I didn't know anyone on that show, I wouldn't be as mad.
Yeah, who cares? Yeah.
It's like, no, every time Lisa Kudrow and Jason Mantzoukas have to take one of these roles, it means they're not doing another awesome thing. So
yes.
Don't do that. Stop doing it.
Stop doing it.
I would agree. My pick would also be Housebroken.
Oh, Invincible. I hated Invincible.
Oh, yeah, I want to paint Invincible.
It wasn't the worst show, but it's the one I hated the most, probably. Because everyone couldn't shut the fuck up about how good it was. And I'm like, no, it's categorically, mathematically bad.
I gotta say, so Nick and I, it kept timing out that I kept getting like these like rant live text back and forth streams from Nick about Invincible whenever I would finally watch it, bring it up, like, and that, so it's hard to separate that out because like separate from the show, that was one of my favorite things about the year. Was Nick just like, but they fucked this up, and this is an unforced error, and this is just a fucking trash move.
Nick, you should prepare yourself because like the other Kirkman show, Invincible's going to be on for 20 seasons, and it's just going to it's going to suck for 20 seasons, and people are going to be talking about how great it is for 20 seasons.
But at least Walking Dead tricked me into liking it for a couple.
Me too, for a little while. That feels like more of a problem with that's actually worse, I think.
That's more of a problem with us than it is with Kirkman.
No, I think if it tricks me into liking it, that's worse. Invincible, there was a couple episodes where I'm like, oh, I kind of like this. But mostly I was like, fuck this show.
Yeah, it's more honest.
And the ending was very fuck this show.
Oh, yeah. So stupid. And then they make a meme about it.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
And which sucks because it's a property I really like. And superheroes, I love superheroes. Oh, Jupiter's Legacy also gets an honorable mention.
What the fuck mess that show was? Yes. Oh, I try not to take glee in something being canceled because I know everyone has their favorites. I'm certainly very annoyed at people who are being gleeful about Cowboy Bebop being canceled. So I try not to do that. I was so happy that there's not going to be a second season of Jupiter's Legacy because that's a waste of everyone's time.
Yeah. Oh, what's the most middle thing of the year? Because the Cowboy Bebop gets that. As far as they didn't completely fuck this up. This is a pretty good, fun sci-fi show. Some of this is pretty stupid. And the Jupiter's Legacy, like me and Les watch Legends of Tomorrow. I feel like it's not hard to please us. We're fucking so easy to do on this. Yeah,
I think my middle show, if I find the one that was like, it's fine, is probably the 4400 remake on CW. Like it's giving us representation. It's doing what it does fairly well, but
that's about right because I totally forgot it happened.
Yeah, it's just not. Yeah. It's fine.
Also, Dexter, same category. Forgot it existed, which is actually good for Dexter. That it's not a trash fire that I remember.
Yeah,
that's still happening.
Is it still happening? Is it not done yet?
It's going on right now.
It is happening right now.
Fuck.
Well, that is our part one of our best of. We'll be back next week with our top 13. If you want to listen to us talk about Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, and you know you do, go to patreon.com.
You know you do, motherfucker.
Throw us a buck an episode. Listen to us talk about John Travolta at his most manic. And until next time,
TV Dudes out. Oh my God, I'm taking over a tray.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/TVDudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.